either
I'm
take
liking
his
this
equipment,
business idea too.
right?
Dude,
you know?
I love it.
Right.
Okay.
I want to dive into that.
You know,
We-
we're going from health to hair.
Yeah, health to hair. I love it. The brand guy.
Who's in
Tagline.
branding?
I know.
Who's in branding? Yeah, healthy. I love.
Whoever's watching the show right now, there are two different lives that occur based on the model you want. If you're building this cute little one where you want to be part of the community, you can still run it, still start it the way we insert a startup cost, but there's a way to market it where it's just your cute little business and it works, it pays well, it gives you freedom, right? And then you do have the option of franchising still. You still have the expansion opportunity if you wanted to, or you could go big and go right to the B2B space, drive a crap ton of revenue just based on a few accounts, right?
Welcome to the Millionaires Idea Vault Show, where we interview successful entrepreneurs for them to give away their best business idea. And together we workshop the idea live on the show. And we don't know what the idea is before they show up on the show.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to get the most out of the show, make sure you download all the documents prepared with the links below so you get access to the business plan, pitch decks, worksheets. Sounds good? See you in the show. Peace. Yeah, introduce yourself, and
Tell us a
then
little bit
Richard
about
takes over after
who
that.
you are, what you do, and
Okay.
then we'll get into it.
All right. Yeah. So I've been in the brand world for, I guess, 20-something years, 21, 22 years. Too long. I own an ad agency called Exactly for too long. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you ask me the success thing, that's one thing I can agree. I don't know about the money thing, you know, but I can say this is I love what I do, right? I love when somebody, you know, and I think you know because every entrepreneur I've ever been around, you know, they get kind of tapped at one point and then they start saying things like, you know, I think it's time to do something different or to sell or to, and that doesn't cross my mind. When people try to get it out of me and say, hey, you should ever consider, you know, selling and I go, what else am I going to do? Like I'm doing what I.
That's
was kinda
amazing. That
meant to
speaks
do.
volumes, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I walk in every day. You know, of course, some days.
And
but-
all the more reason to give away an awesome idea then, because you're not going to stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have all my ideas, actually. Most people have been, you know, they've gotten way richer on my ideas than I have.
Yeah. Denis Sabourin, episode 1 of 1,000.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's, you know, but
So the way that I like to kick off the idea, so we don't know what the idea is yet.
Yep. Yeah.
And God, I hope it's a good one.
are you asking for one? I thought it was
But
just
before-
invent good ideas.
So the way that I like to kick it off is before you say the idea, maybe start with like, what is the problem that you experienced or what is the challenge you experienced that gave you this idea?
I think the idea of mobile in a lot of businesses that weren't. So I'll give you an example of one that I push is my barber. Right?
Right.
Used to go see my barber. Sorry, just a little late. Sort of this. Get in the room. There's an experience to going to the barbers, right? So I don't want to take that away. And I said, "Would you ever come to the studio and cut my hair?" He goes, "Yeah, man. I'll come on my days off." So guess what happened? He'd come. Way more efficient for me. I'd pay a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'd be literally in meetings sometimes getting my hair done. But guess what else would happen? People in the studio would be like, "Hey,
Do you mind?
could you do mine?" He'd be like, yeah. Could you do mine? When is he coming back next? And, you know, he could have kept himself busy. And I thought, man, right? Like there's just go to you.
I'm not
and
off
we're-
anymore on my off day.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened, right? But we're just talking commercially or business wise alone, right? But then take families, right? Like if you got little ones, bringing 2, 3, 4 kids inside the salon or barber, waiting to all get their hair.
Mobile barbers for businesses. Okay, that's another business idea that deserves a show. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
And you know that it's bringing the stuff's one thing, but I always thought, you know what? Because a lot of these guys, fuck the lease and the location, just get a van.
Yeah.
And literally, the van is the option to bring people in. Okay, there's a chair, right? He can either
I'm
take
liking
his
this
equipment,
business idea too.
right?
Dude,
You know?
I love it.
Right.
Okay.
I want to dive into that.
You know,
I love that business idea. I actually love
but
that
barber's
business idea.
here,
Barber's
right?
here.
And the kids can keep playing. He
Dude.
parks in the driveway. Okay, who's next? You're not in some room to go, shh, everybody,
Yeah.
the kids, especially the boys. Yeah.
I love the mobile barber so much because getting to the barber, parking, the barber I go to, terrible parking situation, it's just a nightmare. if I can have them come into my business and cut everybody's hair or as many people's hair, or have a mobile van or whatever that looks kind of cool, well branded.
Yeah, I think you know how we always start with the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, this idea is addressing several problems.
it is.
I love that you mentioned the lease idea, and that's retrofitting a van is pretty cool too. That's another idea. But solving the
Well, could you imagine driving like as an advertisement? It's like all glass, kind of like the one the Pope drives.
yeah.
And like you're driving down the highway slowly in traffic, and like someone's getting their hair cut.
Now you're pushing ahead. While driving. Now we might have to figure out. I mean,
Don't move.
I mean, a barber could be
Ear. Oh, damn it. Lost an ear. Sign this disclaimer, disclosure, whatever.
But absolutely, right?
Festivals.
or even like, I mean, it gets, but even like a cube truck, right?
Yeah.
Cool with the barber, and you open up and the TV's in there, and the barber and opens the door, right? And he pays for his truck.
It's both the option of, I mean, so what I like is, I mean, it's cool to go in the house and cut in the house, but I'm okay if you reverse into my driveway and there you go. We just walk out and get the haircut and just walk back in and shower.
It's almost like bringing the ice cream truck back for services, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, it would be like a barber service. I think there's a lot of services that benefit from this.
And I think people would pay premium too. That's
100%.
the other thing. It would cost you less to. So if you're, let's say you're starting this thing, right? You're a barber, right? You got to sign a lease.
Yeah.
Right. There's a fit up.
Exactly.
There's you
And
you
lease-
need to be open. Here's the other thing. I'm passionate. I've pitched my barbers this,
Yeah.
and they're always like, "Oh yeah," like to the point where I'm like, "I'm in.
Yeah, totally.
We'll get this right." And an app that's just like, mobile barber. Oh shit, he's available to come to my house, my office tomorrow. He's got a couple spots. Who's in? Johnny's gonna come and boom, boom, boom. Premium. You pay. Would you pay? Would you
100%
pay $5,
I would.
$10 more?
100%,
Right?
yeah.
To
100%.
avoid all that stuff.
If I don't have to drive somewhere and park and deal with all of that, I'd pay a premium. I'd pay an extra $5 or $10.
And when people sign leases, just so in case no one's ever done this before, like we're not talking like a 1-year apartment lease here.
No, it's a
5-10
5-year.
year lease that they're signing. It's a huge commitment.
Totally.
That's super expensive.
Or you're going to work in someone else's barber shop and you're renting that chair.
Yeah.
Like essentially, you're giving up like anywhere between 30 to 50% of every customer to the person who owns the barbershop. Right?
Totally. And I think maybe it's just another, but the franchise opportunities if you do this right.
If you
Yeah.
brand it
How
right.
many people are like, what am I, right? If you brand this right and you could sell it, to 2 or 3 in a big city, right?
Yeah.
You got the East End, you got the West End, right? Somebody, away you go.
Yeah.
Trucks wrapped,
I love
the
this
chairs,
idea, honestly.
right? The app's already done. You book and
And
think
the
of,
intelligence too in the app, like as you grow your business in the app, it's like, oh hey, I can like contact everyone who's in that neighborhood because I'm going to be on that street,
yeah.
right? Like you can make sure that it's
Ice cream truck.
Geo-targeted stuff, right? People are
Totally.
opening their social, and it's like, look down the street, look who's in your hood today, right?
Yeah.
Right, and it's but think of the opportunity. How many of us have walked down the street, right, and been like, oh shit, landscape guy, I need a landscape. Taking a picture of the sign of the truck. I've done it and
100%.
called. Imagine the possibilities when somebody sees mobile barber.
Okay.
Right?
We got 2 boys here. What are your thoughts about mobile barbershop?
I get my haircut cut from Brett.
You gotta come. You gotta get on the mic. Get on the mic. Get on the mic. Here. Get on the mic. Or actually, here. Yeah.
So I don't pay for haircuts. My girlfriend cuts my hair. Ever since COVID.
I guarantee that will change.
Well, last time I've been to a barber was actually 2 months ago, and then he charged me for like $40. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this anymore because a lot of guys they get haircuts every 2 weeks, right? And if I want to keep that fresh fade, I gotta go in every 2 weeks. So I'm like, I'm never going to a barber again.
Now, what if the barber came to you? Well, if you were
That's
working
even more
here doing this
expensive, right?
podcast
So-
and he's sitting there cutting your hair while you're working.
No, I
Okay,
don't think
That's efficiency
So
right
too
there.
messy, too messy.
Now,
This is
I-
very
I
interesting.
realize
This is very interesting because we've essentially just decided that he's not the demographic.
I'm not the demographic.
So you can go back.
Okay, we got Brian in the back here.
As you can see, I don't get my haircut very often. But if I was going to get my haircut every 2 weeks, which I sometimes used to, I would love for the barber to come by in like this super awesome van, and the same way that the ice cream truck plays it, it's like a different song that I get used to, where I'm like, the barber's here, like, and I run outside, and I'm like the first one in line, and he like puts me in the truck, and then gives me like an old fashioned, and like cuts my hair, and I'm like, and there's air
A
conditioning.
licensed truck for liquor.
And you're talking like that next level, like that's what's going to come out of it, right? Like I'm talking, like so
It will
he's
evolve to
going to
that.
that street because he's booked.
Yeah.
But if he's open to taking the guy that walks up and goes, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
when are you done? Any chance you could cut my kids and me, right? Because I'm walking down the street and they could use, well, right?
And the thing is, what I love about this is the getting started is almost the easiest part, because if you don't have customers and you just like the interest, the intrigue, even if it's not something I wanted to do all the time, I'd be like, I want to try this.
But I mean, you're the brand guy. There's such
try
a
it.
huge brand play on this that could get people to just
Think about
want
it. You got a
that
client
experience.
coming in and you go, "You want a fresh shave?" What?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, have a seat while you're in the meeting, right?
You know?
What are you booked, right? Are you coming? Hey, I got our barber coming in today. You want a fresh shave when you come in? Like I was getting haircuts. We were putting.
I
it
would
on
hire your
social,
company
and the people are
immediately.
like, "Damn, that's like right, like that's efficiency right there." Entrepreneurs. What's the biggest thing with entrepreneurs?
Efficiency,
Time.
Yeah,
Time,
exactly.
right? I
Yeah.
don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I got kids, I got this, I got that, I got other companies. Time, right? Literally, the three of us could be getting haircuts right now.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't mind
Right?
a nice
Right?
beard trim myself.
And if I
actually.
was smart enough and proactive enough, I just should have brought the barber here
Oh,
just
man.
to make a point, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he leaves happier because instead of his whatever, his cut, and don't forget, he's got a cut,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
So you might pay $40, he's left with 20.
yeah,
Because he's paying the house, right? Or the opposite. You own the place, but you have to pay. You own your own mobile. And I tell these guys this too all the time. Here, one of the worst things about retail, in my opinion, is you're just stuck to a certain time. Like you got to be open at 9 a.m. and somebody's got to be there, and on weekends and commitments. And when it comes to holidays, you're mobile.
yeah.
Hey,
And
you know
people
what?
need to come to you.
I'm not working Friday. I'm just gonna block it off in the app. Nobody can book me. That's it. You don't have to be like, oh man, who's open? It's gonna look bad. The store's closed. The lights are off. People are gonna think I'm closed.
Completely.
Right. Think of the money, profit, flexibility. Right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm shocked. And I'm sure somewhere, if we dig deep, this is happening because it's not that innovative. But I'm shocked I haven't seen it yet.
But you know what? Like, I was shocked the first time I got my winter tires put on my car in my driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, as if this didn't exist like for the last 50 years.
Or the
Yeah.
detail guys,
Right?
Like
Like,
they'll
yeah.
come to your driveway. You used to have to bring your car.
I
It's a
know.
big long appointment to get your car detailed. You get somebody to come and pick you up.
Right.
Right. Like everything. I'm shocked. Like and I'm, like I think we're dealing with another company that's very blue collar, right? And they're kind of bringing it a new way. But these like old school ways of doing things that just haven't changed. I think that's the true opportunity in business, right? Because there's like high tech and AI, and there's people are. But what happens is the shiny object, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like it's a good idea and everybody wants to, but nobody wants to go kind of backwards and pull forward, right? So,
But when
I
you
mean,
say like it's shocking that this doesn't exist, there's so many businesses that are now doing in home
Yeah.
that I was shocked, that weren't around before. Like, how did I change my tires before? I had to like go to a place. I get the tires from the garage into my trunk. Like, what a nightmare.
yeah, and guess what? When you arrive, oh, sorry, man, we're running a little
Yeah,
late.
yeah, we're running a little late.
Yeah, just a little late, right? Yeah,
Totally.
like you're supposed to be there for half an hour.
Yeah.
You're there for 2 hours, 3 hours, right?
100%.
Or
now he'll like show up. Sometimes it's 8 p.m.
Yeah.
That's good because that's the time I want.
Yeah.
He'll show up and then he'll take my tires for an extra fee. He'll keep my tires and store them.
Yeah.
So like with the barber, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Here's
I would
about-
absolutely use it.
Here's the best part too. If the barber, because it's gonna happen, is running late, you see it on the app.
You
Yeah.
Right? Just like Uber.
Totally.
You see
Yeah.
oh shit, the van or the mobile looks like he's still out in the East End, and it updates you. Your appointment was at 10 a.m. Apologies, we'll be there in 23
Imagine the
minutes.
app has AI even, like it knows your face and then it's taking data from all over the world. You know how we're talking about big data here? It's like yo, man, people with your structure and your hair, here's some new styles that you can consider, grow. I mean, there's so much many.
Okay,
fun
so
things.
let's love the idea. Let's
Yeah.
bring it into like, how would someone get this started?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about
And we
what is the minimum.
Yeah, or we I pretty much know who would take on this idea. Likely someone who cuts hair.
I think it has to be like a barber,
A barber.
ideally.
So
Yeah, and if I've learned, and in generalizing here, because I've talked to a few barbers about this, I'm like, this is for years too.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in, right? Generally, the entrepreneur spirit's not the first thing. It's a bit of like, well,
Right.
what they do need is, vision, right? So I think it's a combo. I think it's
Maybe
a
it's two
company.
people.
I think you're selling. I think honestly, you build the model and you sell the franchise,
yeah.
and you go
There's-
around and you go,
there's a-
here you go.
Yeah, there's a barber out there because we are a version of that in our own industry who is just craving for change. There's a barber out there who's saying, you know what? There's got to be a new way to do things. Someone is frustrated out there, and if you're that person, man or woman doesn't matter, or how self-identified and whatever way you want to be self-identified, this is a great idea to run with.
But you touched on franchising, for example. But even before you get to that point, I think you need to prove the concept and refine the customer experience and see how the interactions work. Like, I don't think if I was advising someone, I wouldn't say go build the ideal scenario. I would say do small iterations, because I think you're going to learn how people want and don't want to be dealt with in this kind of scenario. And so what I was going to ask was how would you get something like this started? What is the minimum viable version 1 of something like this if someone wanted to take it on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious is get the barber that's open-minded, right? That let's say it's the three of us. We're in. Are we in?
I'm in.
I'm in.
Right? I mean, honestly, I think
Although
it'd be,
when we come on the show, it means we never run away with the idea.
No, but we can invest in
we
someone's
invest in
idea.
it. Yeah, we
right,
can invest
right?
in it.
So
yeah.
let's assume we're in, right? And who's the last person, in my opinion, missing at the table is a barber. Someone. I mean, I think I want to say someone that's been doing it and can tell you the pros and cons and make sure, because you're right. Like, but that happens in every company. I mean, look at my agency, 21, 22 years. We've evolved every second year.
Right.
Like, you can't stop,
Yeah.
changing and asking questions and right. So, but you bring a barber who wants to be, the first 1.0 version. I'm in. They're coming in. And you break it down, and then I think just like it's a traditional type of
so
business. So
break it
it's
down.
like So what's first is the
Incorporation.
idea. Yeah, you got to
Incorporation.
incorporate
That's
it.
easy. Do that online.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's like less than $500.
I think it's a big, and it's gonna come from a guy like me. It's a big brand play, right? You
There's
get
a
the
brand
brand right,
component.
and you get the advertising right.
Yeah. So
Like-
I mean, let's. I want to, because this is such a very specific idea that we could even go a little bit more specific than some other shows. So an example is, I would, if I was the barber, I would know all the type of customers I've ever interacted with. I would right away start talking to some of my customers, especially those who aren't even at my place anymore. Unless you own the actual hair salon, then you could actually talk to your customers and get to know sort of the vibe that resonates with you the most, the customer that vibes. In my case, for example, I would likely retrofit a cargo van and have a bit of a hip hop rock combo approach to it, right? And so I would find these clients who would resonate with that particular brand, and I would work in that brand story. I would work in the cool factor because I want them. They've been coming to me for 10 years now, and I want them. I want to attract them first because they're going to be the ones who will be my ambassadors because we resonate. The brand, of course, they know my quality haircuts. It's great. Give them a great trim on the beard. Awesome, no problem. So first things first is talk to customers and align what they need, what they want with what you want to offer as well. Figure that alignment, right? Because then now I could create the brand story out of that and the whole brand strategy.
Yeah,
right?
totally. I think if we're really going to dig in, and you said to me, what's the first, like, who are we going after?
Yeah.
Right. To be honest, the B2B, so the commercial side, I think where's the real money?
Mhm.
Okay, so
100%. That's the first place. That's what I was
so,
thinking.
So number one, after COVID, people are trying to attract people back in the office.
Right.
Okay, so you look at companies like ours or other companies. Hey, we're having the barber come in every second week,
Right.
and it's on
So-
us. And it's a deal.
100%.
It's a deal. The guy doesn't have to drive all day. He's just coming on site every second Friday, right? And the company can do whatever they want around that, whether it's the pizza day and the drinks and right. And John the barber's in every second Friday. Company pays. He's happy. One flat rate, right? He doesn't have to drive around.
Really?
Guess what? How many does he need? Right. So if there's 20 business days and everybody's booking every second week, give or take,
Man, he's 10 businesses.
10 businesses paying, showing up. Right, it's easy. He's working regular hours.
That's where I would start. 100%.
And you know what? And I love this model. If you know me enough, the retainer model.
All right.
Get your barber on retainer.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
coming in. Maybe he does special events.
Dude,
Maybe he's paying. He's hitting credit cards. He's living the best life he's ever lived.
In my
right?
professional services company, we do this. We do this all the time for employees. Like we'll get a masseuse that'll come in, and everyone will book like half-hour sort of like chair massages, like all these kinds of perks. This would be awesome. The cost wouldn't actually be that high.
No, it wouldn't, right?
Right?
And there'd probably be there would be a better deal. You book the day, you scale.
But what a
it,
great way to encourage people to come into work, and what a cool perk.
Yeah,
What an amazing perk,
And-
because that's an out-of-pocket expense. Like people,
and just
I bet you would. I bet you,
Yeah.
Alexi, that you would use it if your company was paying for it.
Dude,
Yeah,
definitely.
of course you would.
He said
Yeah.
yes.
Definitely, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
as much as I love my
Yeah.
girlfriend, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I can tell. I haven't invested in my hair.
So, but like going back to like getting it started, okay, you need a mobile app. Getting a mobile app like this, they already exist, right?
Yeah.
It's like a matter of just kind of
Yeah.
reskinning it. You could probably get a service that's subscription based that
Totally.
already does this.
Yeah.
For like Square, for example, they've got a whole online booking.
Yeah.
thing.
There's lots of options.
$100 a month, you're
Yeah.
up and running for booking. And then the van is the part that's a bit kind of finicky in that I don't know what the rules. Someone have to look into like the rules of, I'm sure you're not allowed to get a haircut with sharp scissors and shaves while driving. But when it's
Yeah.
parked, I assume it's fair game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only challenge you run into is where you're parked, right? I'm there's probably some kind of commercial, right? With the, if you take the, the food trucks and stuff like that, they just can't just show up wherever they want.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, but I think that's a small problem to solve, right?
Agreed.
I mean, and if you're going
Agreed.
to commercial,
But what does a van cost? I mean, you want to buy a van and outfit it. I don't think you can lease it and modify it. So like you'd have to buy a van, outfit it.
So
Probably 15 grand for like a used or
yeah,
20 grand.
my
to
buddy
have it like that.
retrofitted a couple of minivan food trucks type thing, and it was about 50 to 80K. One was 50K, the one was closer to 80K.
Yeah, I was gonna say my just rough. I like to go 100K. You probably have to budget the first one,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't think about this. We gotta change this. This is not gonna work. Just to
So if you're cheap and like to hack like I do, it's a 20 grand. If you want to do it properly, it's like 100 grand.
I'm just it retrofit, right? And I'm not like, if you're gonna do this, you're probably buying a new truck,
Yeah.
right? Like if it's gonna be driving around town, and
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd buy a used one,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
because I'm cheap.
Same
that
here.
way.
I'd buy used, and I would think you could do it probably relatively
Totally.
on
Government
budget,
auction website.
20, 25K. I
20,
think,
okay.
yeah.
25K on a budget.
Yeah, just run it for the first summer on this
Right.
first truck. Just get the money in, so you
Because
can
there
keep
are
your-
some things that like they need to take into account, right? Like you need some sort of running water
Totally.
on it. Like there's some things that you need to think through.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do think it's gonna cost you like any
100
rental,
grand?
but no, I wouldn't say maybe 100, but definitely more than 25. I mean, just a van
Okay, we'll go in the
alone
middle.
that could support
50
it. and-
grand.
50.
50
Okay, let's
grand
say
is
50
your startup
grand.
capital.
50
50
grand.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I couldn't agree more about your go-to-market. Because if you go to market into businesses, you're advertising and getting all these people to understand this service and get comfortable with this service
You
before you end up going into neighborhoods where by
Even
then
before.
everybody knows.
and by then, and everybody you're cutting in this office has got kids and family and starts chatting you up. And,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
When you do, do you do this at home too? Yeah, man, just go to the app.
Yeah,
Can you
I
come
mean,
and cut my
the-
kids' hair
the-
on Saturday?
I would actually get this service It'll be like, hey, it's my birthday party. Everybody gets a free haircut and shave as part of the process. Mm-hmm. Right? I think you'd come to all my birthday parties then. Otherwise,
honestly, just, we were going back. We were talking about like just like businesses, but just the culture part of it, right? Like having this like, it's good for staff. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation piece. There's something just kind of different and memorable and trendy about it. Imagine your big clients come in and you want to,
I've been to
But how
several.
cool is that, right? Your client's like, what's going on?
You're both sitting in chairs chatting about the business, getting your,
right.
Just, something almost like, because it's not like that anymore. You can say you go to the barber shop, it's a cool, like, and I know there's some places doing a better job than others. But what better than your own space, right? To have 100%. A chill conversation with your client or your partner or whatever, right? While you're getting your cut.
Well, it just takes the edge off, right? Yeah. It just makes it a lot more like comfortable.
Literally, right?
Yeah.
Literally.
So we have the problem. We have the business idea.
There's
we have the founder.
Take the edge off.
Take the
Take
the edge off.
Nice.
Getting a haircut stressful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take the edge
it's not
off.
supposed to be, but oh shit, I gotta book it.
Really?
Oh shit, show up. You're running late. They're running late.
If I remember after the show, I'll register that domain and we'll give it away to anybody who wants to start this business.
Yeah. Might as well before the show goes live.
Love it.
Exactly.
And then we have a go to market, right? And founder go to market, rough budget. We don't have the specific brand, but now we have a brand name, so that could be it for as well. And what are we missing here?
I think the initial marketing, like the hardest part is to get your first 10 customers.
Yeah.
And if you're selling to businesses, so there's going to be a hustle component where you're like telling businesses of this new service and kind of trying to convince them. Yeah. But if you use your network, I mean, even if you don't have a very big network, I don't think it would be that hard to convince.
I have a feeling if you're already a barber, you might already be serving managers, CEOs, business owners that already could be that client.
And once, this is the kind of thing, once you look at, I mentioned it to you, you're like, oh man, I'm in, right? Like you get in that world and people know you're doing this. You'll have those 20 companies or whatever room you have. If you have 20 business days you need to fill, because let's call it once a month, not even twice a month, right? Yeah. You need 20 companies.
That's it.
Right? Paying that 1 day fee to have you there.
Totally.
That's not a lot, right?
And when you think about it, the exposure or risk for a company to try it once is so low.
Yeah.
So you could be like, hey, I'll do it the first time for half price. But what's it going to cost? It's going to be like $1,000 to $1,500 a day.
I would actually even budget to just do it for free the first time.
Right.
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 Like,
just to
hey,
give it a
you
try.
budget the first month.
Yeah.
And that's how you get in. Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, Dennis, you know what? I'm gonna come, right? And then that was awesome. Everybody's talking in the office. That was so much fun. Now the CEO's feeling some pressure. Right. Okay. How much is it gonna cost me?
Yeah.
Right, to do this. Yeah. But in the big picture, it's not any different than buying lunch for everybody or taking everybody out.
Totally.
Whatever everybody's doing these days, bowling and all that stuff.
I think Yoda's talking to us. Did you?
I know there's a sound. What's that sound?
I think. Oh, okay. I thought it was Yoda.
Okay.
Yoda saying he agrees.
He's so good on the idea.
He
The
agrees.
room's
Is it just
buzzing,
catching? Is
the
it
room's
capturing?
It
buzzing.
literally is buzzing.
It's like,
Okay.
It literally is buzzing.
I know. I was like, what's that sound?
It's
Is that
Yoda.
buzzing?
He's like,
Or is
yes.
yeah.
May the force be.
Yeah. So,
Okay, man. Well, I love this business. I don't know if there's anything else that we haven't covered yet, but I think a little bit of capital,
Yep.
the right 1 or 2 people, maybe 3 people get together and pull this together. You
Yeah.
can prove the concept for sure very quickly. And then we get to the potential second phase, which is you franchise it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you franchise it, you talk to a franchise lawyer, you franchise it, but like you own a market and you understand exactly how, like what the formula looks like.
Yeah.
And I can say like, hey, it's turnkey.
You know what's interesting is that it's same thing with Andrea's when she came on. It's like we had 2 approaches, almost like an enterprise approach, and then and you went enterprise big, I went kind of small local.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. Like even in this particular case, I do see the B2B. That's the big question for so many business owners, right? It's like, do I want to go a B2B, which tends to be the bigger kill, the bigger win, or do I want to go retail B2C, which in most cases people try to convince you not to go B2C because the bigger win. But I would still go to the B2C route. I would still go into the community, create a brand that's part of the community versus penetrating through a business. But I've seen people start a business they go at the B2B level and then they offer it down to the B2C level. And the same thing.
And I think it'll depend on the personality of whoever's
Yeah.
starting this business.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 people start it in their own cities.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely build a very comfortable and successful lifestyle business out of this.
Oh yeah.
That would just be like amazing. But you can also, I think, there's an opportunity where if you so choose, you can really scale
and
it
that's
to
the point I
something
want to make is that whoever's watching the show right now, there are two different lives that occur based on the model you want. If you're building this cute little one where you want to be part of the community, you can still run it, still start it the way in terms of startup costs, but there's a way to market it where it's just your cute little business and it works, it pays well, it gives you freedom, right? And then you do have the option of franchising still. You still have the expansion opportunity if you wanted to, or you could go big and go right to the B2B space, drive a crap ton of revenue just based on a few accounts, right? But have a different experience.
Let's
that you
calculate
create.
this. So if you charge a company, call it, $500 a day, times 5, 25, times 4, that's 10.
I think
10,
so.
you're at $120,000 a year you're making as a barber, right? I don't know what
I
barbers
think it's,
totally make, but for the conversations I've had, it's not $120,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not 9 to 5.
And
it's
I suspect-
Saturdays and
yeah.
Sundays and
Yeah.
working shifts at night.
You're working evenings.
And
yeah,
it's
when people-
splitting. Oh, I had a slow day.
Yeah.
I didn't make. You ever
Well,
walk
here's
in your
the beauty,
barber,
okay?
not making any money today. How
Here-
come?
here's the
Nobody,
beauty.
Guys cancel.
I go to the barber on the weekends or evenings, but if it's during business hours, then you're suddenly working during business hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was talking to a friend of mine who hired a chef for his company, and he said it's super inexpensive because chefs who want to not work night
yeah,
are willing to take a pay cut to work just business hours,
totally.
right? So I love it from that perspective. I think it's more than $500 a day. I was thinking like, hey, you're doing 2 haircuts an hour, $50 a haircut. Maybe you're doing $800 or $1,000 a day, right? And when you're looking at numbers like that, you're making really comfortable living.
Yeah,
Totally.
and the recurring subscription model is what really is like the
Here's
whatever you
what I
call
would
it.
do. It's this much a day, but if you sell by
you buy
12
12,
months
Exactly.
a year, you book
I give
me,
you a month for free or 2
or,
months. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever
and
it
then,
is.
you got a barber, he's not worried about people canceling
Yeah.
or taking his holidays and he can't,
No.
Yeah.
he's got people in, he can work around that. And you're right. And as a sales pitch, right? So company, what do you spend when you buy lunch for the staff, right?
Easily
Adds up,
$1,000. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So, you
I don't
figure
know.
out
As
the
a
price-
perk, as a retention perk, as a benefit that really adds value to employee, like it really does make their life easier.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant, man. I
And
love
to be
this
honest,
idea.
you know what, too? I bet you some of your staff are getting their haircuts during work hours.
I know they.
Because
are.
I see the fresh
I
cuts
know they
walking
are.
by. and I'm like,
Yeah.
Why do
you
you
had
think-
a meeting at
Yeah.
2 o'clock?
Right,
Hey,
right,
you
yeah.
can see. What are you
No.
talking about?
Yeah.
Looking pretty fresh. What are you talking about? No, nothing.
Nothing.
Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Nothing.
So now you're saving money there too. Let's face it, right?
100%.
People coming and going because they have an appointment.
100%.
Now
But
they're just getting-
again, I always want to highlight, just like you do too, for the viewers, like that subscription model is game changer for people's lives, and it's something that I would make sure you consider when you're looking at this model. I actually pay a monthly subscription to my guy, and I go to him though, but because I go every 2 weeks, I said, dude, why not I just don't want to bother every time, so can you just charge me monthly? He's like, yeah, no problem. Right, so he's there. He knows
So I
I'm
would
there every
say,
month,
and
right?
we all can relate to this, but being in professional services for so many years, which a barber is professional services,
Yeah.
moving to a recurring revenue model is very difficult for professional services. And as soon as you can do that, I think a lot of problems are solved and all of the risks associated with professional services are addressed.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this model. If you can get people onto a subscription, it makes it so much easier.
I'm actually surprised that barbers don't do subscription models. I don't know if there's any out there, but I actually had to convince my guy to do it. I said, dude, I'm guaranteeing you just charge
So
my
unless
thing.
you're high tech,
Yeah.
You're going to find
the
it.
amount of times I've brought it up to the most common types of businesses that are like, shit,
Right. I just didn't
you think
of
that
it.
would work?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm talking guys from HVAC companies to,
Yeah.
you know, maintenance and guys that you're always just like calling and trying to figure out appointments and people that should be checking things regularly.
Dude, even my lawn care.
Yeah.
I get a bill like, hey, we came and did fertilizer. Here's $80 bill. I'm like, dude, just charge me a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Average
Have
it
a
out over 12
have
months.
A program. I don't know what to
Right?
do.
Average it out
Don't
over
call
12
me.
months and just like take care of it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
the best part is too, automatic renewal. If we don't hear from you, we're doing it again next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Most people are like, oh shit, I guess we're doing it again this year,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
we forgot to tell them we don't want to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
I dig it. I think this could be a game changer for somebody who takes this on. It could be an amazing lifestyle business.
Yeah.
I think if they value that connection with their communities, they can take it in that direction. But I would 100% start off selling to businesses. That's such an easy sale, I think. I mean, viewers are watching 3 business owners that would all buy it. I mean, really.
Oh, yeah.
It took you
right?
literally 30 seconds to sell me on it.
Yeah.
Like, Richard, would you pay for that? I'm like, damn right I would.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
a good thing I got your wallet
I
already.
know.
Yeah,
See that part
exactly.
when I gave you a hug when I
So,
walked
wait a
in.
minute, wait a minute.
What did he put in the roofie?
I know,
Even
exactly.
roofied.
Yeah,
What did he put in the
it didn't
donut?
matter what I said. You guys were like, oh, that's an awesome idea.
But I love it. I mean, we pivoted right into this, and this is great. It's going to be an another amazing idea.
Right. Why don't you land the plane?
Wow, I'm not good at landing the plane. Well, first, thank you, Monsieur Denis, for this incredible conversation. I think we had an amazing problem that is very obvious. The convenience of getting a haircut. We also have another problem that we're solving, which is employee value, right? We also have another problem we're solving, which is giving a different approach to building a life as a barber, and actually creating a life that's perhaps even more manageable and making more money. So really, really love this idea. Really grateful. We hope all of you who are watching this and are in the space really consider it, because we like to see 10,000 versions of the same idea running.
Completely.
Because we've had this discussion before. It's not about the idea, it's about the execution of the idea. And the execution always depends on who your team is. And so good luck. Thank you very much for this amazing
Thank you,
conversation.
guys.
Thanks for having me.
Much love.
Awesome.
And we will have a follow-up show about the healthcare problem.
Yeah. That's going to be a good one. Awesome.